A very good evening to you. You're live here on GH1 TV. This is News Tonight with me, Natalie. Let's take a look at our top stories. Coming up this evening, CDD pushes against calls for the declaration of a state of emergency over illegal mining, while President Mahama reveals national security believes fight can be won without a declaration.
They advised me otherwise. That, boss, now we need a state of emergency. I will not hesitate.
Our position as CDT is that at this material time, it is a bit premature to declare a state of emergency.
And more from the illegal mining dialogue as Attorney General warns NPP's Ashanti Regional Chairman to report to him on Monday or risk arrest. Also coming up, students demand a rollout of President Mahama's Bed for All policy in tertiary institutions. In business, GNPC reaffirms commitments to local content and fair participation in oil and gas sector. Got the details of these stories and much more news here on News Tonight Tuesday. You're watching News Tonight here on GH1 TV, streaming live all across the world on Facebook and X at GH1 TV. We get started with issues on illegal mining. As a Galamsey pit collapse at Katose in the Ichima Imponia district of the Ashanti region has left 9 people dead. District Chief Executive Ibrahim Isaac confirmed that 4 others were rescued following the tragedy. He explained that illegal mining activities, mostly carried out at night by residents, continue to pose a major danger to the community. He added that a volunteer task force has been formed in collaboration with the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO, to help tackle the menace and prevent further disasters.
Once we were informed about the disaster, we quickly put together a response team, an emergency response team. They were able to rescue five people alive. But by the time we found the extra, in fact, 4 were alive. We first rescued 4 people who were alive. But before we could rescue the remaining 7 from the pit, they had lost their lives, unfortunately. And so, so far, that has been it. But we've put together a volunteer group. And then our men are together with them. We are doing everything within our means to ensure that, people don't go to the pit again, but to try to mine in that pit and then other pits around.
Well, on related issues, President John Dramani Mahama says he will not hesitate to declare a state of emergency on illegal mining in areas badly hit if the National Security Council advises that it is necessary. At his meeting earlier today with CSOs on the government's fight against illegal mining, he noted that while he has the constitutional power to take such a decision, it must be guided by security assessments. Until such a time, the president believes that the government's current approach, which includes deploying more troops, equipping joint task forces and allocating extra resources, is prudent.
In recent months, several CSOs, professional and faith-based groups, political actors, and activists have pushed for decisive state action, the declaration of a state of emergency in illegal mining hotspots in the country. They have been relentless, warning that failure to act could permanently damage water resources and threaten rural livelihoods. President Mahama, who has vowed to intensify the Galamsey fight, relived his earlier stance in the quote, "The wheels of justice grind slowly," believing that government's efforts so far are yielding results. He, however, is not opposed to the move if guided by the National Security Council.
As at now, this moment, the National Security Council believes that we can win the fight against Galamsey without a state of emergency. I want to assure you that the day they advise me otherwise, that, boss, now we need a state of emergency, I will not hesitate in declaring a state of emergency.
Despite the incessant calls for the declaration of a state of emergency, executive member of the Center for Democratic Development, Colonel Festus Abuaji, retired, says such a move at this stage would be premature and could expose the country to serious political, socio-economic, and security risks.
Within this framework, I would wish to borrow from the strategic thought of the Chinese general Sun Tzu, that the best general is the one who wins a war without firing any shot. Our position as CDT is that at this material time, it is a bit premature to declare a state of emergency because it entails political, socio-economic, and other security risks.
On the government's fight, Minister for Lands and Natural Resources Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa revealed that 250 small-scale mining licenses are set to be revoked after a successful review of leases granted since 2017.
We initially came out with 907 licenses that had problems. But we didn't want to simply revoke the licenses. We gave opportunity to the small-scale miners to come in and show what they have. We've done the complete due diligence, and let me thank the chairman of the review, my able deputy minister, for this effort. I can tell you that the review is almost closed. At least, I'm sure, by next week when we announce it, at least 250 licenses will be revoked.
The Catholic Bishops' Conference called on President John Dramani Mahama to demonstrate decisive leadership in the fight against illegal mining by prosecuting high-profile individuals involved in the practice. This was after the Attorney General, Dr. Dominic Ayene, gave an update on prosecuting the MPP's Ashanti Regional Chairman, Bernard Entry Boisiako, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, for his alleged involvement in illegal mining.
When we came to power and I started the investigation with the the Lands and Natural Resources Minister and the Forestry Commission, we were finding it difficult to get information. Subsequently, the police themselves owned up and presented the docket to my office 2 months ago. So as we speak, the charges against Chairman Wontumi, Akonta Mining, and 5 others have been signed as I speak. Currently, we are waiting for him to be read his right to remain silent, etc. Before we've asked that he should be brought from, Kumasi. His lawyers asked that he should be brought on Tuesday, but I'm insisting that he should be here on Monday. If he doesn't come on Monday, I'm going to order for his arrest.
Taking his turn at the microphone, convener of the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Dr. Engineer Ken Ashibe, argued that the elephant in the room was not addressed. Demanded an update to the AG, he's yet to receive the investigative report on the matter.
When we did the referral, it was upon intelligence that we got that was sent to both myself and the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources. But after we did, some petitions came from small-scale miners to the Economic and Organized Crime Office, then complicating the investigations. And so, as we speak, an investigative report is yet to be made to my office because those small-scale miners also brought their petitions that had allegations against the two persons who were referred.
Director of Operations at the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, Colonel Dominic Boa, has vowed zero tolerance for illegal miners as it intensifies operations across the country. There will be no room for them to escape or to hide. NIMOS will smoke them out very soon, he said.
I would like to send this warning to illegal miners, their assigns and financiers, that they are the first or prime enemies of the state and they will be dealt with as such. There will be no room for them to escape or to hide. NIMOS will smoke them out very soon. There's no resting place for them.
President Mahama has assured the nation that he has no personal interest in Galamsey and that his government's campaign would continue until meaningful progress is achieved. The president is expected to review proposals shared at the dialogue and take further action.
Let's stay a while longer on this issue. We've been joined via phone by Daryl Bosu, serves as the Deputy Director of Arocha, Ghana. Good evening to you, Daryl. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. Now, first of all, what's your general assessment of this engagement between the President and these CSOs?
Good evening to you as well. And yes, there was an information sharing session. That's how we did. And as you know, we have for a long time been government giving updates to citizens regarding the state of affairs, in regards to the fact that I'm saying pollution of the recovery and all of that. So we actually saw this as an information session where they told us what they're doing so far. And so to that extent, I think that they met their target of informing us. We, on the other hand, did not get a lot of opportunity to ask a lot of the questions and needing to engage. It was more or less, we give you information, you take it, and then you also submit certain feedback and questions, some of which we didn't see being responded. But like I said, I think that there was an opportunity to also get the nation to understand and appreciate what has been done so far. And it was clear from the information given that, look, the government has been putting in place a lot of efforts, some of which are, very small benefits or results. But to look at the time we have had all this while, turn out that lots of key things, key strategic things that we need to see. For example, issues of open movement.
Right. Now, Daryl, let me hold you briefly. If you can kindly speak a little bit louder, because it appears that we're having a bit of difficulty hearing you.
Okay. So is it better now? Is it better?
You can speak up a tad, please. Yeah.
Okay. So as I was saying, the meeting was more of an information session. And from what we saw, it's more to do in terms of promises, because a lot of the actions that government needs to work on, some of them are yet to be done. For example, electric policies to repeal is yet to be done. They are talking about also reviewing Act 703 and actually completely exclude mining activity, forest from mining activities. That is yet to be done as a process. And they're also yet to really geotag, geofence, do track and trace. So a lot of the things to be done are promises yet to be seen. And this is where we thought that the government has had ample time and opportunity. And from where the point where we say this is an existential crisis, we shall really hit these actions head on and not really wait for them to drive, as we have seen. We were also concerned about how government is prosecuting politically exposed persons. There seems to be a very strong focus on account mining, which is right in place and is very legitimate. But there are also several others that we have reported to the government in terms of the Singh constituency, Wayne, and all of that we have not seen action. So we sought to also get information on that. Then there was a discussion on the infamous state of emergency. We have demanded a state of emergency considering the existential crisis and where we are. But the president said some weeks back that, looking at it to him is going to be the last resort. So we then pushed forward and said, look, if that is the case, then tell us your timeline, your benchmarks, your trigger milestones, so we can use that to monitor.
Right. But so, Daryl, is that to say that in the engagements, the dialogue, the president did not express any clear timelines? At the end of it, what were the clear points put out by the president? I mean, you say that your organization, Arocha, has expressed the need for this calls of a state of emergency, but we had CDD say otherwise, feeling that it isn't quite necessary now if the issue is being practically dealt with. So what do you make of that contrary view by CDD?
No, I think what we need to understand is that we have moved on past the demand for state of emergency. The president stated some weeks back that, look, they are not there yet. So it's a civil society demanding something, and the presidency with all the powers of the land saying, I can't do it now. And so we are saying that if you cannot do it now, as you say, what are the milestones and what trigger benchmarks should we expect and should we measure him by to be able to check in and monitor and make sure that when we get there, that's what needs to be done. This is something we're still going to get a response to, and that's why I'm saying that a lot of the things that needs to be done seems to be all in the future and yet to be, and this is something that we expect is better. But like I said, it was an information session. Everybody now gets to know where the government is. We also know where to really engage and also where to really monitor the government and push further, and this is exactly what we are going to do.
Daryl Bosu, thank you so much for your time this evening. Deputy Director of Arocha Ghana joining us there. Now, we stay on this a while further as you've been joined now by Director of Communications for the Lands Ministry, Ama Mausi Mawinyefia. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us here on News Tonight. She joins us via Zoom. Now, as you are well aware, this engagement between the President and CSOs has been wrapped up now. We just had a representative from Arocha sharing his perspective on it as well. As a ministry, what are the next steps to be taken from the propositions and proposals that were put forward? What are the timelines that we're working with as well?
Good evening, Natalie, to you and to your viewers. And thank you for the opportunity as well. So, yes, you're right. Like you all know, we had an engagement with the civil society organizations today to outline what we have done so far in this existential and combating this existential threat that we're all faced with. And if you look at the presentation that we had shared with them today, one of the key pillars for us is stakeholder engagement and collaboration. And we had said that we are very clear to say this is not something that sits with the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources alone. It's not something that sits with the government of Ghana alone. We are all in this together, and so it was important that we engage, we dialogue, and we have some of these open conversations. One of the beautiful things that we have today is that we have a listening government, we have a listening president, and we are ready to take in all of the feedback and engage as much as possible. I was listening to Daryl, and he was saying a lot of things that we are talking about are promises. Right. And I can tell you for a fact that, look, these are not promises. We are working. And let me give you a typical example. He made mention of the Act 703 and the Minerals and Mining Act. We are about 90% complete, 95% complete on that review. We could not sit in our office and just make an amendment to the regulations without engaging stakeholders. So we've combed the length and breadth of this country. We've engaged as many stakeholders as we can. We've engaged chiefs, we've engaged academia, all sorts, just to get input and be able to put it together, and to get delayed when Parliament resumes. So and for that particular one, we had given a timeline to say by 2026 we should have a fully operationalized, reviewed Minerals and Mining Act and Minerals and Mining Policy. And these are clear timelines that you can hold us accountable to. A lot of the things that we had outlined are things that are already in progress, and we are seeing results.
Right. Now,
tracking of excavators, for instance, at the beginning of the year, the Minerals Commission was on a pilot phase, tracking just about 90 excavators. Today, as we speak, we have 724 that we are constantly tracking. The registration is ongoing at the port because we have personnel stationed at the ports that are doing the exercises. So these are not promises. These are actual works in action, and we are seeing the results.
Timelines associated. Clearly from Darrell's submissions, it's appreciated by CSOs that this dialogue was held. However, he did consistently describe it as what he termed to be more of an informative session as opposed to a dialogue. But that notwithstanding, with the other points, with the other demands or propositions that have been put forward by CSOs, what are the timelines for the others? You just mentioned a timeline for one.
So, like I said, this is a listening government. There were a number of things that were put before the table, and we just had the conversations today. We're going to table all of them and look at them, and then as and when we are firm on how we're going to approach, all the inputs, we can put exact timelines to it. But as it is now, a lot of the things that we have done, based on the strategy that we have adopted, we do a lot of engagement. And look, there are best practices to look up to. And when the president spoke, he made examples of them. Other countries who have come out of this illegal mining menace have adopted some of the approaches that we are adopting today, and it's worked. So we are on the right path, and we are, like I said, the results are there to see. But the most important thing is that we are also ready to take in the feedback, and today's session was one of them. We've had extensive conversation with the CSOs because we gave them the information based on what we have done, and they also gave us their inputs. So we're going to sit down and look at all of them and restructure and see where do we need to make adjustments, where do we need to make amendments and all of those things, and then where we can assign actual timelines to it, we will, and then we will keep updating the people of Ghana. And the president said that this is not going to be a one-off session. We are constantly going to keep updating the people of Ghana because we are all in this together.
Certainly. I mean, one thing the people of Ghana have had for quite a while concerning illegal mining is updates, but it's seeing the impact and it's seeing it being stopped, which is a major concern. Now, Amma, you've briefly touched on the fact that you're going to table what was put forward by CSOs, but specificity. When should we expect a clear timeline from the ministry as per what the actions are going to be? You haven't quite touched on that.
Natalie, we like I said, we engage with Ghanaians every single day. As we go along on a daily, on a weekly, we are driving engagements, and as we go along, Ghanaians will get together updates. We've done this right from the beginning.
So when should Ghanaians expect? Is there going to be a clear
one of the first things that we did was, like I was talking about the stakeholder engagement. Right. Monthly, we were given updates, and so it's not something that is new to us. As we go along, weekly, monthly, you can expect to get the updates from us on where we are on the fight. And thankfully, the media has also said that, look, we want to partner with you, we want to partner with the ministry so that we put the story out there, and then we drive a lot more education and also get Ghanaians to see what exactly the ministry is doing. So Ghanaians should be rest assured they are going to get the updates that you're looking for.
Amma Mausi, thank you very much for your time this evening. Director of Communications for the Lands Ministry, joining us on that issue. Certainly more on it subsequently here on GH1 TV. Now, the Ghana Immigration Service has condemned the deadly attack on officers at the Bintiri checkpoint. It has strongly condemned this violent attack on two of its officers at the Bintiri inland checkpoint, which is within the East Mamprusi municipality of the Northeast region. The incident occurred at about 1 a.m. on Friday, October 3, 2025, leaving one officer dead and another critically injured. Assistant Immigration Officer Rafiq Mohammed tragically lost his life, while his colleague Daniel Opong sustained severe gunshot wounds. Opong was rushed to the Baptist Medical Center in Nalerigu. A joint team from the police service and immigration service in the region responded promptly, evacuating the injured officer and launching a full-scale investigation into the attack. The service has assured the public that every effort is being made to track down and apprehend the perpetrators. The Controller General of Immigration extended heartfelt condolences to the family of the late Rafiq Mohammed, describing his death as an ultimate sacrifice in the line of duty. He pledged the service's unwavering commitment to securing justice for the slain officer and ensuring that those responsible are held accountable. In its statement, the service reiterated its dedication to safeguarding Ghana's borders and territorial integrity, while stressing on the importance of collaboration with citizens and upholding national security. Meanwhile, the Northeast Regional Police Command has reacted to the deadly attack on the immigration officers. Public Relations Officer ASP Robert Anibik reaffirmed the police's commitment to tracking down and arresting the perpetrators. He also cautioned the public against spreading misinformation about the incident, stressing that accurate updates will be provided as investigations progress.
The injured immigration officer has been taken to Tamale Teaching Hospital for further treatment because his condition is critical and required emergency attention. We have commenced investigation into the incident, and we are on the lookout for the perpetrators of the heinous crime. We appeal to the general permission they have for us to effect the arrests and make them face the full rigors of the law. We have caution people who are circulating rumors as to the circumstances surrounding this attack. We have no information as to whether the attack has been instigated by any conflict within the region. We sympathize with the immigration service, convey our condolences to them, wishing that the injured person will fully recover and give us more information about what happened so that we can properly investigate and get the perpetrators arrested.
You're watching News Tonight. Let's turn to the health sector as junior doctors have become the latest to join a wave of industrial actions over poor working conditions, threatening a total withdrawal of services beginning Tuesday, October 7, 2025. The protest centers on the delay in payment of arrears, echoing recent actions by teachers and nurses in disputes with the government over unpaid salaries and stalled postings. General Secretary of the Junior Doctors Association, Dr. Rhoda Amadu, told GHOneNews that more than 200 of her colleagues have gone without salaries for over 10 months, leaving them in a precarious situation.
Over several months, we have tried, every formal channel. We've tried dialogues. We've had meetings. We have, in fact, had engagements with the government and different relevant stakeholders to address these issues threatening the career of young doctors. But our pleas have unfortunately been met with silence and inaction. So consequently, we have unanimously decided that we can no longer continue in this manner. So we are hereby declaring an indefinite escalating industrial action. We demand immediate postings and financial clearance for all our unemployed doctors. We are also requesting immediate payment of all arrears owed to the medical officers with over 200 who've been working for several months without remuneration. And we also request a permanent solution to the erratic payment of of salaries, because a cohort of our members have also reported salary interruptions without due notice, without any form of. Some had their salaries coming, and for some reason they were cut. There were some interruptions in the salaries without any explanation. So they go. Some have had like for 3 months. Then the subsequent months, it's not coming. So I mean, all these things piling up are the reason why we had to embark on this action.
Well, on to the judiciary. The president of the Judicial Service Staff Association of Ghana, JUSAG, Samuel Afote Otu, has expressed disappointment over the slow pace of progress in improving the conditions of service for judiciary and the staff. Speaking at the 44th annual meeting of the Association of Magistrates and Judges of Ghana in Accra, Mr. Otu lamented that despite numerous conferences and solidarity messages, valuable points raised often failed to translate into tangible actions.
Day in, day out, conferences such as this one are organized, and solidarity messages such as mine are delivered. We clap, we nod in agreement, but too often the valuable points raised are not implemented. Such as in 2002, we talk of delay of salaries. 2003, we talk of human security. And 2024, we demanded 70% of retention of our RGF, which will help us to manage our system. It is my fervent hope that this time, government will listen not only to the judiciary, but also to the staff who support it and translate these messages into concrete policies for stronger and efficient justice system. Today, our lower bench, a major problem they have is cars, because we expect them to do well. Cars has become a problem. So we thank God that today the Honorable Attorney General is here, the Chief Justice is here, the media is here. We want this message to be carried on, that our judges, they deserve better.
Watching news tonight here on GH1 TV. More news shortly. Do stay. Welcome back to News Tonight here on GH1 TV. Now, during the 2024 election campaign, a promise was made to students in tertiary institutions, a bed for all policy aimed at addressing the growing accommodation crisis on campuses across the country. 7 months on, students of the University of Media, Arts and Communication Institute of Journalism, UNIMAC IJ, are appealing to President John Dramani Mahama to begin the implementation of that promise. At a press conference organized by the Tertiary Education Institutions Network of the NDC, UNIMAC chapter, President of the group, Mohammed Tafiq, called on the President John Dramani Mahama to prioritize the institution as the first beneficiary of the yet-to-be-fulfilled policy. According to him, a dedicated hostel facility for students, along with staff accommodation, would go a long way to ease the burden of exorbitant housing costs and improve academic life on campus.
On page 97 of the 2024 NDC manifesto, a bold promise was made: the introduction of a bed-for-all policy aimed at addressing the long-standing accommodation crisis facing tertiary students across the country. The policy pledged to provide affordable housing for students by investing in the construction of hostels and expanding accommodation facilities through public-private partnership schemes.
Mahama is saying when he comes back, policies like in, out, out will be a thing of the past. Why? Because he's going to work with the private sector to ensure that all the universities have very good bed facilities, and we call that the bed for all policy. You see, this problem does not stand alone because currently we have hostels charging exorbitant prices from students, and some students can't pay. But with this policy, we are assured of a regulated scheme and students will be able to pay their hostel fees. I mean, people are paying 23,000 just to sleep in a hostel in Lagos. But with President Mahama, we are giving beds to all, so we call it the bed for all policy.
Despite this commitment, many students in tertiary institutions continue to struggle with limited and often expensive accommodation options. At a press conference organized by the Tertiary Education Institutions Network of the NDC at the University of Media, Arts and Communications Institute of Journalism, President of the group, Mohammed Tafiq, appealed to President Mahama to fast-track the implementation of the Bed for All policy.
Students who travel from other regions to attend weekend classes often have no places to stay and are forced to spend their night in mosques and other unsafe temporary shelters. This is not only undignified, but also undermines the very essence of quality education. Even more worrying, Your Excellency, is the fact that our lecturers and even our Vice-Chancellor do not have even official bungalows on campus. The absence of staff accommodation affects supervision, mentorship, and general running of the university. If the leadership of the institution itself lacks decent housing, then the case of students is even more dire.
Mohammed Tafiq further urged President Mahama to consider making UNIMAC IJ the first beneficiary of the policy by constructing a 5,000-bed hostel facility along with staff bungalows to improve both student and staff welfare.
Advocate for the full implementation of the Bed for All policy by your government. Secondly, to appeal for the official launch of this policy to take place right here in UNIMAC IJ campus. To position the university as the first beneficiary of this long-awaited intervention with at least 5,000-bed hostel capacity as a starting point.
Pressure on accommodation in tertiary institutions continue to mount. Many students hope that the Bed for All policy will not be only made on paper, but will be translated into tangible action. They believe that the policy will not only ease their burden, but set a new standard for student welfare across Ghana's tertiary landscape.
In other news, the mayor of Accra, Michael Pakpo Alote, has urged traders in the business capital to comply with the directive to close down shops tomorrow as the Accra Metropolitan Assembly embarks on the first National Sanitation Cleanup Day exercise. The citywide initiative aimed at tackling Accra's long-standing sanitation challenge will begin at 6 a.m. and continue until completion.
Point to the market women, tell them how important tomorrow's sanitation program is. So I've spoken with them and they have accepted. They say they are coming in their numbers. I just want them to know I'm with them. You understand? I want them to feel belonged. So from what they are telling me, tomorrow means they are coming. What I'm telling them is that if you come and help and we finish early, you open your shop early. If you decide to fold your arms, to stay in your houses, it means that the time I will finish, that's the time you open your shop. So I'm not giving any time that I'll finish. It will be good for them that if you help me, right? You know, they said when all hands on deck, things go faster. So what I'm saying is that they should come and help for us to finish quick. Okay. My people will be out there because we have done a lot of announcements. We have do TV, we have done normal, we move the vans around to do the announcement. So I think the announcement has gone down well.
Some traders spoke to GHOneNews ahead of the cleanup exercise.
It's going to be done every first Saturday in every month. It's a very good initiative by the mayor, and as a shop, we joining to clean up this place. It's a must for us, and if it's going to continue like this every time, I think it's a very good thing.
Even the Bible says cleanness leads to godliness. So why is it that we will not enclose our shops so that we will do the right thing? So I think it's a very good initiative. We have to close the shop so that we all participate in this exercise.
It is passe. I say, and ya be na be ya find ya no kwaremo. Na ya tonto sunu ya dwuma no dia ya nopa. Iti ya bantama. Me say me bantama ye me niama be ye niama nyina na ya pra na ya fine. Na ya sisa bola nyina ya transe. Na ya dwuma. Na ba me say me ba dia me boa me da. No be foforo ya dwuma. Me ba na me suma be boa na dwuma na aye yie. Tawa nka say the whole day. Or see from 6 o'clock up to 11 o'clock. Or see 6 o'clock up to 11 o'clock. Ain't normal. And yeah, in Ochanankwana Sardinesi.
More on that subsequently. The Accra Metropolitan Assembly, as part of efforts to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from organic waste, has begun sensitization and education on converting waste into biogas and manure to support urban farming. This was revealed during the Regional Climate Finance and Leadership Masterclass organized by C40 cities in collaboration with the AMA and Assembly members to find solutions that can mitigate the effects of climate change.
The regional masterclass brought together local government authorities, including the AMA and the Finance Ministry, to work on practical climate actions while addressing issues such as clean water access, job creation, and resilience against climate threats. To curb methane emissions from landfills and dump sites, the AMA is exploring waste processing systems that will turn organic waste into biogas, manure, and other useful products. Director of Waste Management at AMA, Engineer Solomon Noy Ajamanoete, outlined the project's potential.
For ages, since the creation of Adam, people are used to mixing their waste together. And then because of climate change issues, you suddenly want to tell them to stop mixing their waste and then separate them. Definitely, you have to take your time to educate them, get them to understand, and also demonstrate to them what you intend to do. And these things will take time for people to come to terms. So when I separate my waste, these are some of the things it can lead to.
Budget Director of AMA, Nobel Achu Ahaji, stressed that challenges like flooding, sea level rise, and waste management demand urgent collective action.
We have the flooding issues. we have the rising nature of the sea, and we have other issues that we need to deal with. We have waste management issues, and all these things are climate issues that we need to do. So we need to know exactly what the climate issues are involved and how we can tackle them. And C40 is giving the needed support so that we'll be able to do that, building our capacity and also supporting financially.
City advisor for C40 cities, Evans Asamoah Ajayi, urged participants to take advantage of strategies shared through the masterclass to tackle climate change.
It's important to pick up knowledge, and it is important that we put the knowledge that we pick up into action. And I believe that what we are doing here, C40 City Sky program being funded by the FCDO, is one of the support that we've been giving to AMA. We believe that with what we are doing, with little support from the assembly and other individuals, we'll be able to go far. And let all of us take responsibility to be able to solve our environmental and climate change issues.
Head of Implementation for C40 Cities Africa, Zarina Mula, urged local governments and ministries to invest in impactful climate programs that can also generate jobs and economic opportunities.
Hoping that through this program, we're engaging the informal sector, we're engaging communities, we're also creating jobs and cleaning the city, which is really a big priority in Accra.
We've got business news here on News Tonight shortly.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
In business this evening, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, has reiterated its dedication to boosting local content and ensuring equitable participation in the country's oil and gas industry. This commitment was underscored at GNPC's inaugural Vendor Engagement Seminar as part of its 40th anniversary celebrations in Tema.
The event, which forms part of GNPC's 40th anniversary celebrations, brought together Ghanaian businesses, vendors and suppliers under the theme Promoting Local Content and Local Participation Through Vendor Engagement. The goal is to strengthen supplier relationships, enhance transparency and deepen collaboration with stakeholders, while underscoring GNPC's commitment to efficient procurement practices, local content development and sustainable supply chain partnerships. Opening the session, CEO Kwame Ntoa-Amoah emphasized the corporation's drive to grow alongside Ghanaian enterprises.
By gathering here, we affirm a shared vision, an industry that thrives on Ghanaian talent, innovation, and enterprise. The theme, promoting local content and local participation through vendor engagement, goes to the heart of GNPC's mandate. For us, local content is not merely a regulatory requirement, central to our strategy to grow together with you in a mutually beneficial partnership.
An official of GNPC's Supply Chain and Local Content Development Department, Barbara Friowusu, warned against big pitfalls like incomplete forms, expired certificates, and late submissions.
Try to maintain valid statutory documents, i.e., valid PPA registration certificates, valid SNITS clearance certificates, valid tax clearance certificates, and then all relevant certifications that you are involved in. You should also keep your registration certificates intact, and then also understand the local content obligation.
Manager of GNPC Supply Chain and Local Content Development Department, Seydou Salim Brahima, highlighted prospects for indigenous firms.
Within the next 5 years, we should see a penetration rate of up to 45-50%, at least, and still growing, because we're hoping, and the petroleum regulations actually indicate the minimum percentage of participation of local firms. Right now, we are nowhere close to that. But our intention is that as GNPC moves towards proper operatorship in the Voltaigne Basin, we should have local firms, at least within the next 5-6 years leading that effort in the exploration field up there within the Gauteng Basin.
GNPC's procurement agenda aims to deliver value to the corporation, local communities, and bolster Ghana's global energy industry standing.
The business brought to you by CompuGhana. Passion for
In sports news tonight, the King's Baton Relay, a symbol of unity and sportsmanship, made its way through the streets of Accra as part of the 2026 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. Top government officials, the Ghana Olympic Committee and some respected figures in society were part of today's relay.
The relay began at the Flagstaff House, where a short ceremony was held to mark the occasion.
King's Baton Relay this year began at Buckingham Palace on Commonwealth Day, Monday, 10th March 2025, when His Majesty the King placed his message to the Commonwealth that will be carried as part of the relay. The King's Baton Relay is a tradition that celebrates, connects and excites communities from across the Commonwealth during the build-up to the Games. And the journey to Glasgow 2026 will take 500 days and reach every corner of the Commonwealth.
The Chief of Staff, Honorable Julius Deborah, who spoke on behalf of President Mahama, urged the Ghana Olympic Committee and the Ministry of Sport to prepare Ghana's athletes for a successful campaign in Glasgow.
Sports is not merely a recreational activity. It is a powerful tool for national development. And President Mahama's government remains fully committed to identify, nurturing, and developing talents across the nation. We are determined to build a future in which young people who choose sports as a career path are given the support they need to thrive.
The baton, beautifully crafted with Ghanaian symbols and monuments, was relayed through various parts of the city, passing from dignitaries to corporate bodies and sports enthusiasts. The rally saw participation from various stakeholders, including MPs, sports journalists, national athletes, and respected social figures.
We, as a Ghana, part of the Commonwealth, it is a joy and a pleasure that we are preparing, leading to the Commonwealth Games in 2026. I want all Ghanaians to support us as we go to that Games in 2026.
And that is how we bring an end to News Tonight here on GH1 TV this evening. Many thanks to you for making the time. Do visit our website, starfm.com.gh, for lots more local and international stories. It was produced by Bernice Abubedu Lanza. I am Natalie Fort. Have a wonderful evening.